Hello, Kansas City, and welcome to our next installment of Climate Conversations, a production of Climate Action KC in coordination with the Mid-America Regional Council. I'm Lindsay Constance, and I'm here today with meteorologist Joe Lauria from Fox 4.
Hi, Lindsay.
So glad to have you. Thank you for joining us. As you know, we are in our Priorities Week with the Climate Action Plan priority process. And as a follow-up conversation from when Mayor Mike Kelly and I spoke with you a few months ago on your podcast, we wanted to talk about your thoughts on the impact of climate change and just really share from a local perspective, what are the extreme weather events you are seeing more as a result of a changing climate?
So I think there are a couple of things as I think about that. I think one of the things that you can't help but notice in this part of the country in particular is you're starting to see, or we have been seeing, more extreme rain events. And to a much lesser extent, the extreme snow events, but certainly more extreme rain events. And it's a combination of a few things. One, as the world warms and as the country warms in general, typically that allows more water vapor to be in the atmosphere. And that when you have a regular thunderstorm or a cluster of thunderstorms or something like that, it has the ability of producing more locally heavy rains, more flooding rains. And we've been seeing that here in the Kansas City area now going back for about the past 20 years or so, if not even more than that. So that's certainly a change. Now, part of that has to do with land use and building roads and not taking into account proper sewers and stuff like that. That's a whole separate conversation. But the storms, the rain, just seems to be heavier more often than not compared to perhaps 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. That's one big thing that I've noticed. Another big thing that we've noticed over the last, I'd probably say about the last 20 years or so, is particularly the overnight low temperatures gradually adjusting upwards. And that's a function of warmer nights. Typically, when you have more moisture in the atmosphere, the low temperatures at night, especially in the summer months, don't drop off as much. So those are two right off the bat. Not necessarily hotter afternoons, but warmer summer nights in particular. And just anecdotally, during the winter, I'm not seeing those really cold overnight low temperatures in situations that it should be really cold during the overnight hours, those sub-zero morning lows. We seem to be seeing fewer of those here in Kansas City as well.
Well, it's really interesting to get your take, being somebody that is looking at these things minute by minute. What do you think that we can do here in Kansas City to be more resilient to a changing climate?
So this is kind of always a tough question, I think, because people have to, first of all, kind of put their mind around the fact that things are changing. And that's probably the biggest step that we need to take. The next step we need to take is probably just from a common person type thing, maybe just take small baby steps. Maybe think about what you're doing around your property in terms of are you planting things? Are you planting trees? Just simple things like that that could help out and create little shaded pockets that maybe a proper tree in the front of the house that blocks the sun from hitting the house when it fully matures. That'll reduce your energy usage. Just basic common things that we could do. That's just one little item. Maybe you create a garden that doesn't require as much watering. Maybe use native plants instead of some of the exotics that require a lot of water, so you reduce your water usage. Just basically things like that that could just kind of go a long way if everybody kind of pulls together on this one to try to alleviate and try to reduce our dependency, try to reduce our needs on our environment. And that to me, regardless of what you think about the climate, I think that's a step in the right direction right there.
Well, and those are good solutions that have benefits regardless, right? So
Right.
those are really, really good examples.
I mean, who doesn't want to save $50 during the course of the summer on reduced air conditioning if your house is shaded by trees. I mean, it
Absolutely.
just seems to make sense.
It's definitely a win-win. So I know that we all have personal reasons for why we care about this issue. Why does it matter to you?
I think for me, in particular, the thought process is that and this is what I talk about a lot, this is the only Earth we've got. It's not as if we could go somewhere else if things go to heck in a handbasket. So I think we just need to be as good a custodian to what we've been given that we can be. I think we need to just try to alleviate our human footprint, if you will, on what we're taking from the earth and just try to kind of ease off the gas pedal just a little bit. I'm not saying we have to change our entire lifestyle or anything like that. That's not the way I think it'll work in the long run. I think we just have to make alterations, uh,
Mhm.
perhaps very small ones at first, hopefully very small ones at first, and then we grow into something bigger and more hopefully prolific down the road to reduce that footprint just a little bit more.
Sounds good. Well, finally, what is your vision for a resilient Kansas City?
That's a good question. I think my vision is that the cities, which could be, we're all different. We have rural areas in the Kansas City metropolitan area. We've got city areas in the Kansas City metropolitan area, and we've got a million cities in the Kansas City metropolitan area. So it's the whole cooperation thing that's going to be the biggest challenge. But I think down the road, if we can get that cooperation aspect going, and if we could get the cities to kind of start pulling together perhaps a little bit more and kind of getting all their horses in the barn together, that it just speaks of as a more unified voice to what is going on out there. And a lot of these changes are very, very subtle when it comes to weather and climate. For example, I've got 3 ash trees in my yard that are being ravaged by this emerald ash borer thing. Well, that happens because we've got warmer temperatures out there that typically, if it would be colder, those bugs would be dying during the winter. Well, they've spread now all the way down from the upper Midwest, and now they're a problem here in Kansas City. So just these little subtle changes that we've noticed in nature is a sign that things are a little off. Not that we can fix that necessarily right away, but maybe we could try to do things to start getting us down that road. That's going to be a long road to go down, I think, over the coming decades.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being with us, Joe, on that road. We really appreciate your perspective. We also just wanted to remind everyone, if Joe's insights spark some interest in you, we hope you will join us, share your priorities on climateactionkc.mindmixer.com. We want to know what interests you, what matters to you, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much, Joe, for being with us.
Thanks, Lindsay.